All right, so Bird Rookery Trail, February 22nd, 2021. Beautiful, beautiful day. I think it's supposed to be around 82 today, but it's February, so the humidity here is staying down. So this trail starts off on a dirt path, ample width. And as we get in here, we'll turn onto the boardwalk before it becomes more of a kind of rustic trail. It's an 11-mile trail. It's a beautiful loop if you get the chance and have the endurance. You can mountain bike the whole thing or hike it. There actually is a crossover that connects all the way to Bonita Beach Road and to the crew land on that side. So, beautiful trail. This is a beautiful stretch of boardwalk in here. There is still water underneath us. You know, you've got fences along the edge, so you don't have any wildlife that comes up on this trail. You might see a raccoon come up, but there's enough traffic on this trail that you don't see too much along this stretch. There is a high traffic area coming up that we'll take a look at, and that you will see. I mean, you'll see gators, a lot of birds. Oftentimes see otters, and the otters don't seem to mind the people. So another nice thing about this particular stretch, that first sandy stretch was there's no shade, it's sunny. But this boardwalk stretch, nice and shady. It'll stay that way for most of the day. Of course, the lizards are always about. Joe, little feller. They're always around. All right. And I'm going to stop for a minute. I want you to just listen. That's right. Other than me and the birds, silence. All right, we're coming to the end of the boardwalk, and I thought this was a good opportunity to remind everybody that there are alligators. One thing I always caution people when using this trail is you better be comfortable with alligators, because you have to share the trail with them. In the afternoons or even late mornings when the sun comes up, they like to climb up out of the water and sun themselves. Now, they don't bother you. They just lay there and sun themselves. However, you may have to walk by an alligator just inches from its mouth. And if you're not okay with that, this is probably not the trail for you. The first time I came out, I didn't experience any alligators at first. And on my way out, it was starting to get dark, and so I thought I'd better get out of the trail. And by one of the ponds, there was probably an 8-footer laying up on the trail. So after standing there staring at him for a while, one of the regulars here at the trail on his mountain bike came by and sat and visited with me for a moment, and then rode off right next to the gator. The gator didn't even move, and he looked back at me and kind of laughed and said, "Oh, that's One Eye. He's been here a long time. He won't bother you." Anyway, as it's getting dark, I realized it was either spend the night with old One Eye or walk past him. And as promised, he didn't even bat an eye at me. So since that time, I've seen old One Eye 100 times and walked right by him. So anyway, travel at your own risk. kind of interesting. This is about a half-mile in. Actually, it is a half-mile in. It looks to be a great big nest. However, it is not. It's actually called a witch's broom. There's a variety of ways that can happen. It's actually a tree mutation called a witch's broom. There's a variety of ways in which it can happen. One of the most common is by bacterium called phytoplasma. This kind of bacteria is carried from plant to plant by sap-sucking insects. When a plant gets infected by the phytoplasma, the hormones that control the growth are interrupted. This causes the uncontrolled growth of the branches to produce a deformed mass of twigs that appear similar to a witch's broom. The plant will not get bigger in the area affected, creating an odd nest growth. And there you have it. The witch's broom. Well, speak of the devil. Now, he's not up on the shore yet, but he's getting ready to. He's not a real big one, but you can see there's the trail. And at some point, he'll get himself up on that trail. And you can see it's not very wide. And there is nowhere to go on the other side. So if he decides to come up, it'll just be you, him, and the weeds. Hey, buddy. And you can see he won't even move. Now I'm going to show you. If you look real close, you might see why they call him One Eye. That one eye is bad. Anyway, we're not going to mess with him too much today. Never mess with them. You leave them alone, they'll typically leave you alone. Yeah, they're coming up on the trail. Oh! Or not. They're coming your way now. There he is. Yeah, they want to cross the trail. But...
Got some otters here. There you go.
Time for a drink. The birds seem extra talkative today. Oh, there's one. Looking for a little bit of breakfast. She'll let me sit here. we have a visitor. See if we get a better view of her in the sun. Hi, sweetie. Oh, where'd you go? There you are. Sorry about my jiggly camera, guys. Man, she's pretty. Hi, sweetie. I'm literally 10 feet from her. You are about, I'd say, 8 feet from her right now. But we'll let her go. Thank you, darling. Time for a drink. A couple of things I've noticed along the trail here. Forager's rule. Always gather while you find, because you may not find later. And as I've walked along here, well, hi there. If you can see her or not. She was shy. Anyway, as I've mentioned, if you look very carefully as we walk along here, look for round leaves. There they are. Quite a bit here, but it is all over back in here since it's so wet. These are dollarweed, otherwise known as pennywort. It's in the Guticola family. You'll find Guticola back in here as well. Big difference is the Guticola stem goes to the edge of the leaf in a little V. The pennywort goes to the center. This is an edible, and it will be part of my salad today. This one I just ate now. Let's see. There's also, if we can find it, there it is. Now we're going to find some more of this. This is an older one. But those are Biden's Alba. If you've watched my other videos, you know that that also will be part of my lunch. So I'll harvest a few of these, put them in my little to-go pack, and get back on the trail. So in the first mile stretch, you get a lot of beauty, you get some wildlife, and then there's a nice resting bench here. This is a good spot to sit and hydrate. It is in the sun, so you're not going to want to do it, you know, during the hottest part of the day. Let's see if this is working. It is not. Well, at times the speaker box is working. It'll tell you a little bit about the trail. But again, the lake, privately owned. You can see no trespassing signs are up. But there's also, for those that want to continue on, it'll show you where you're at, kind of the miles. You can see the split right there at 3. That's about 2.2 miles at that split. So it looks like from 1 to 2 is 1.25 miles. So really about 2.5 miles if you walk it out. So again, good one for beginners, older folks, kids, and you get to see a lot of wildlife early on. But we're going to keep moving. All right. I think this will be our first pit stop today. This is probably, I don't know, 1.5, 1.6 miles in. We're just past the split a little ways. Nice shady picnic table, at least this time of day. I'm going to stop here and adjust my shoes and hydrate a little bit, and we'll get back on the trail. All right, back on the road again. One of the nice things about out here, no broken glass, no seashells. I'm going barefoot. Time to connect a little. Plus, I got a sore toe that's bugging me, so this feels really nice. Man, it's nice. It is getting warm, though. Oh, we have a friend here. Hey, little buddy. They are coming out and starting to sun. We're going to leave him be, as we leave them all be. I have a feeling it was cool this morning. I don't know what the temp was, but let's just call it 60 degrees. Maybe a little over that, but I mean, it was cool. So I have a feeling on the way out today, they will be out sunning themselves. So we'll see. I was hoping the wild boar would come out. He ran, the male ran across the trail yesterday. Wasn't able to get him on camera. He was moving pretty fast. Got one of the hikers heart pumping a little bit. So anyway, we'll carry on here. You can see there's no hikers out here, no bikers. Yesterday was very busy on this trail, so it can be busy, but the farther in you get, the less people you're going to get. Once you get past about 2 miles, it really thins out, and then you get back in 3 or 4 miles, and you might, when we walked all 11, we saw, you know, maybe 3 other long hikers doing it. A couple, of course, a couple mountain bikers. But you can see here this morning, it's a Monday. It is very, very quiet. There was a few people earlier in that first 1.5 mile stretch, and but beyond that, pretty quiet out here. But this split, I believe we're about 2.2 miles in. In fact, we'll take a look at it here. So we are at number 3. From 1 to 2 is 1 point. Yeah, we're about 2.2 right here. It's like our next stretch, 3 to 4. 1.72 miles if we go to the right, which I think I'm going to today. So, on we go. This will be a little easier trail for my shoeless feet. I think either one would be fine, but we'll go this way. Lots of pennywort and young bidens along the trail here. So, you know, as any wild green, they're a little bitter, so just picking them up and pop them in your mouth. That's for select tastes, you could say. Doesn't bother me at all, but I know others that would not be quite as happy about that. There's a nice batch down in the mud. They really like to have their feet in the mud. So we got a little bit of a dry stretch here. I don't expect a lot of wildlife along this. We'll get into some more swampy areas probably about a mile up. So if I find anything of interest along the way, I'll bring you back in. Let's keep hiking. Ooh. I don't know if you can see him. Oh, we got a frog with him. That's he's pretty well hidden in there. He's a pretty thick gator. Now he is just coming up out of the mud. You can see there's his head, there's the trail. I would wager at some point he'll climb up out of that mud and sun himself a little bit. He is sound asleep though right now. So, as I mentioned earlier, if you're going to hike this trail, you're going to share it with them gators. And if they don't today, at some point, they will come up out of that water and they will lay up on the trail. They like to sit along it in that sun and warm themselves up. Now when they're doing that, typically they're sleeping. And like I said, you can stand around and take photos. They're not going to bother with you. I don't recommend that. But you can do it, as I just did. And but you know, I don't recommend getting too close to them. Another thing, don't squat down. You know, when I'm standing full height, that gator wants nothing to do with me. I'm not a prey, I'm more of a threat. Now, he's used to people here, he's not too worried about it. But don't squat down. When you squat down, well, hello. Another osprey. Oh, giving me a picture moment. When you squat down, you make yourself into a predatory size. Don't put your little kids next to them. I've seen parents put their children next to them to take photos. Not a good idea. Don't have little dogs next to them. You know, stay back away from them. Stay full size. Mind your own business. So will they. So this picnic table here, this is another beautiful spot, guys. You can see this. There's a little pond here. Little sign showing you how to get back to the parking lot. It literally is like a one-way, you know, or one single lane trail. So I don't know how you'd get lost, but if you do, there are signs. And this is usually shaded. Mid-afternoon, this will get a little bit sunny. This is 2.5 miles in, and this is a great stop. So oftentimes this is a lunch stop for us. We'll hike in 2.5 miles, have a lunch, hydrate, just relax. Other than the plane right now, once that plane is gone, it is nothing but birds and breeze out here for noise. And so you can really enjoy it. And if you hike in here, have a little snack or something, hydrate and walk out, you've done 5 miles. So a real nice little day hike. But since I just stopped a little bit ago, I'm gonna keep moving. She decided she is going to let us see her, so let's see how long that goes. Hi, sweetie. Oh, that's all. That's all she had. She's going to move on with her day. Oh, no, I guess not. She just went a little bit higher. Let's see if I can get you a little closer to her. Oh, there she said that's enough. Off she goes. They are beautiful. There's a saying I find quite often out here in the woods. If you don't find the awe in that, you need to do some deep soul searching. There, now you can hear the silence. Nothing but birds and breeze. let's keep moving. That one was pretty shy. She didn't go very far, though. Remember, folks, while you are filming the birds, keep one eye on the water for the gators and one eye on the ground just in case a snake pops out, which I haven't seen really along here. I've seen them out in the water, but not here on the trail. But they are here. So one eye on the gators, one eye on the trail for snakes, and one eye on whatever you're filming. Good thing we all have that third eye, huh? All right. I love the swamp cabbage. I don't know why. I just think it's pretty. Oh, I ever get the feeling you're being watched? Hey, buddy. See if I can get you in there. You probably see him. He just came out. Now he's actually a ways back. But usually, where there's water, there's those guys. Now, not on video, but some of the still shots that'll be in the gallery. Some of the still shots that will be in the gallery will have the baby alligators. Those are the first ones I've seen here in the last few days. But I did see one little wet area that had, I would say, 4 or 5 little baby gators sitting up sunning. When you're in those areas, they're awesome to enjoy and photograph. Leave them alone and always watch for mama, which was probably the one we just saw because that other pond was only maybe, I don't know, 30 yards back. So anyway, on we go. Mama's not far away. All right, guys. Word number 4. So 2.72, 3.72. We've been a little over 4 miles. Well guys, I'm just stopping real quick because of this little patch right here. So that is some young Biden's Elba. The outer part has flowered, but some of these inner ones are young and they are nice and green, no holes, they haven't been eaten by bugs. They just look super healthy. So I'm going to go ahead and harvest those into my lunch. And my goal here, I'm a little over 4 miles in. I am heading for the pond to have lunch with Goliath. And we'll see if he's there today. That'll be 6 miles. That'll be about halfway. So I'm going to harvest this, get back on the trail. Man, you guys, I wish you could record smell. All along here are these. Now remember, I am not a wild plants expert, definitely not a wild food expert. I know a few wild edibles that I can pick safely along the trail and snack them. Sorry for the high pitch there. I just stubbed that sore toe that I whacked on a stump earlier. It's a little angry at me right now, but that's all right. But all along here are these little purple flowers. And the air is just sweet. Just fresh and sweet. It's just amazing. You just want to breathe in and just really take it all in. Wish I could record smell. This one looks a bit sizable. Luckily, he's not near the trail. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That is a fair-sized gator there. Well, as you can see, not near the trail. So we'll carry on. Man, I'll tell you what, guys, it's starting to get warm out here. Hopefully we get back into a shady area. Oh, there's a couple. Hey, guys. That's a smaller one, but that's a good-sized gator there. We'll let them be. Head off down the trail. Yeah, that sun's coming out. What's interesting back here, about 5 miles in now, when you're up in the first couple miles of this trail, it's almost like the animals, they're kind of used to people, because there is, especially during season, a lot more traffic in that area. And you know, not as many people make it back here to the 5 mile mark, 6 mile mark. Really, the power hikers and of course the mountain bikers, and even a lot of them don't go this far. And so the animals seem to get a lot shyer. I just had an osprey above me, and the ones earlier, they they let me get really close, but here they are much more reluctant, except for this little guy who has decided to give us a moment. And of course, when you're out here, you have to get used to the sound of things running through the grass, which is usually lizards, and the splashing. Well, thank you for that little photo op, young lady. And we will keep moving. Oh, here's a couple turtles. These guys are really shy. That one says, I like this spot, I don't want to give it up. Well, as soon as we leave, they'll jump back on it. Oh yeah, there he went. That's all he wanted of that. Onward we go. Man, guys, I'll tell you what. I picked a little bit of the dollarweed and the Biden's Elba for my lunch today, and I just came across an absolutely fabulous addition to my salad. I was hoping to find this, but you know, moderate expectations. Look at that. That is Smilex. Now Smilex, you can always tell if you look at that leaf. The veins start at the base, they run all the way out to the end of the leaf. They can be different shapes, but they'll always run out to the end of the leaf. They're also going to have those two little, I don't know what you'd call them, tassels we'll call them, coming off of those leaves. And this is a vine. Now careful, there are poisonous vines, but again, look at that leaf. Look for the veins starting up at the base, running all the way out. Look for the two little tassels or whatever. And this is what you want. You want this end. Just take it where it bends and snaps, pop it right off. You can eat this raw in a salad, saute it, steam it. It's absolutely wonderful. And there is a bunch of it in here. So I'm going to go ahead and pick a bit of this, and I'm going to add this to my lunch. And by golly, at about 5.5 miles, looks like we got some mountain bikers. All right, I'll be back after I harvest this. One of the great things about being a forager is the ability to snack on trail. My wife, it gives you ample opportunities for humor as well, but my wife will often ask me what I'm eating along the road. But this is about the third or fourth spot that I've found. I'm going to be cautious because I am in bare feet, and the fire ants like to find me and get me. So I should say a disclaimer on that. I don't necessarily recommend bare feet. Rocks, stumps, roots, fire ants, spiders, snakes, and the list goes on and on. So that's my disclaimer. Probably wouldn't recommend it. But for me today, it works. But here, again, Smilex. And if you look up here, hopefully you can see those hanging up there in the air. There's several of them here. Some massive vines. They're all up in here. So if I was harvesting to take home, this would be a great location. On this crew land, I don't harvest to take home. I just harvest what I eat. So I'll have a little trailside snack here right now. And then I've already added some to my lunch bucket. And when we get to the pond, they'll be a good addition. So anyway, let me grab a little trailside snack and we'll get back on that road. I tell you, last time I was on this trail, I didn't see any little gators, but today I have seen a dozen or more of these little guys. Look at him watch me. Hey, what are you looking at, mister? Trying to take a nap down here. Hey, guys. They are neat. I don't see Mom around. Sure she is somewhere though. Thought maybe she'd be laying over here in this larger pond, but I don't see her. They're not always real close. They can be a couple ponds up sometimes. But I guarantee you she's not that far away. She's laying somewhere. As far as that goes, she could be laying on the bottom, taking her afternoon siesta. Must be going the right way. Well, it looks like we get to see where we are here. So we are at number 5. Number 5 is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, we are about at that halfway point. I have not seen my picnic table and pond yet, so I was hoping at 6 or right around I would get my lunch. So I'll go a little farther in, and if nothing else, I'll just find a shady spot to pull over and enjoy a bit of lunch. I like it better when they're sleeping. But again, they don't pay much mind to you. Big old turtle sunning in there. That sun is getting warm. I'm estimating I'm at about mile 7. Just realized that my picnic table doesn't exist. It was a figment of my imagination. Now that I think about it, the pond has a bench, not a picnic table, which is fine. That'll work just fine as well. I've managed to snack quite a bit along the way on the Smilex and dollarweed, so I've had a little bit of trail snack. So I'm doing just fine. About halfway through my water. That hotter sun is making me hydrate just a little bit more. But yeah, getting ready for lunch. Haven't seen any snakes. Haven't seen much for wildlife along this back stretch, which is pretty typical. It's a beautiful hike, but tends to be a little less wildlife. Of course, the gators are ever present, but I don't know if you can see this, but earlier in the video I mentioned if you're going to come out here, be prepared to be up close and personal with the gators. I don't know if you can see that. We seem to have ourselves a trail companion. His back legs are sprawled behind him. He is sound asleep. All right, buddy. All right, move along. Let's go. Come on. Come on, let's go. All right, guys, as you can see, I am now on the other side of that gator. For safety's sake, I turned the camera off and focused my attention on him. Again, they don't pay any attention to you. I do not want to encourage you to walk this close to a gator. Matter of fact, I'm going to say do not walk this close to a gator. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So I put the camera away, and what I did is I walked as close to the water's edge behind him as I could, and I didn't stop. I just slowly and steadily walked behind him, and he never even moved his head. He's just keeping his eye on me. You heard in the first part of the video, he gave me a hiss. He wanted me to know he didn't like me here, but he never moved a bit. So anyway, don't recommend doing this at home, children. I'm going to keep going. So I just left that gator on the trail, and you can see we're getting a little wetter here. The trail's getting a little marshy again. This is an area that's known to have quite a few gators in it. And the trail oftentimes gets pretty muddy, as you can see here. In the rainy season, this will be underwater, and it's sometimes probably not passable. I'm not positive on that, but again, here we go. So you can see we're starting to see more gators again. I'm almost positive that what I'm seeing up on the trail, well, I was going to say I'm almost positive it's not a log, but as I approach it, I think maybe it is a log. So when I say you want to be careful or want to be cautious along the water, they can be very hard to see. And so when you're foraging, don't forage next to the water. Save that for while you're in the woods, because you don't want to be reached down there when one decides to come up out of that water. And if you're hunkered down picking weeds, you might very well think you're lunch. So stay up high and forage once you're past the water, coming up to a wooded area here, and that'll be a good spot to forage a little. Oh, nice shaded area here. Loving this. It was getting plenty toasty there for a while. And it looks like up ahead it's going to get sunny again. But I'll tell you what, you really start to appreciate these shaded areas. And the butterflies bouncing around my head, they seem to like the shade too. Like I said, close to the gators. Some of these you can see way far away. You still want to watch the edges because not all of them you can. But you can see that back glistening from quite a ways off. We will give this little guy ample space. I would estimate I'm 7 miles in, and I haven't found my bench. And of course, I realize there's no picnic table there. And so I think I way underestimated how far that bench was, which is fine. Found this big tree, makes for a great backrest. Shaded area. Water's away from the trail here, so I feel comfortable sitting. No gators around. Temperature's probably 10 degrees cooler, or a good 5 degrees cooler in the shade. So seems like a good spot for a lunch. Lunch today, vitamin water. You know, I'm 50, this 11 miles, 12 miles. That's a haul, so especially since I don't do it that often. Almonds. The original salad. So this salad is mustard greens and collards that I grew on the patio garden. And again, that homemade dressing that I mentioned. Wild forage greens. Add them together. Nice thing about these plastic containers is I can mix it up real good. Close it up and shake it. They take up a little bit more space, so that's the downside to them versus like a plastic 1-gallon bag, which I usually use, but I was out of them. So throw a little almond in there. Wild greens, grown, harvested greens, a little blanched almonds, a little dressing. That ought to be enough energy to get me back out of the trail. This is my little Costco lunchbox. This thing works. I use the ice wall packs in here. It's not very heavy. I mean, it is heavy, but it's not terrible heavy, and it stays cold a long time. So I've been out here several hours, and those packs are still pretty hard, and it's very, very cold in there. So it works very, very well for things like this if you want to keep stuff cold. And I'm going to enjoy my lunch. Then I'm going to get back on the trail. We'll see you in a bit. Finally, we've reached the bench. formerly known as the picnic table. Apparently, the memory's going. I love this little spot, though. And it is gator free today. Fish jumping in the little tiny pond, but it is stunningly beautiful here. Little resting bench in the shade. You are here. We are at number 6. So we are 2, 4, 5, 6. 7. And we've got 3 miles to go, looks like. Not too bad. Beautiful location. Now you can hike this in from the other direction. So when we hit the first split, if I'd have taken a left, this would be so this is about 3 miles in. So it'd be about a 6-mile total hike. Carry on. Alright guys, we are still at that little pond. I want to see if you can see these. Look in the water. There are a ton of fish right in here. These are Florida gar. I don't know if you can see them. Whoa, there they go. Well, if you couldn't see them in the water, I think you get the gist of it. They are thick in here. So, anyway, just kind of neat because it's just a tiny pond out in the middle of nowhere. And it is just overloaded with gar. On we go. Not much room to cross. Luckily, him and I discussed it. He minded his business. I minded mine. That one was even a little too close for my likings. But I'm not walking the 8 miles back, so I guess if we'd have had to wrestle for it, so be it. Little One-Eye's taking his daily nap, huh? Yeah, if you look real close, his other eye's bad.
Oh, no kidding. He looks happy as anything.
Oh, yeah. All right, buddy. Well, guys, this is, I would say, mile 11 and a quarter. There's a nice bench here. Nice peaceful little spot here at the end of the trail, or I guess back at the beginning of the trail. Man, it's been a great day. Seen a lot of wildlife. The last couple miles of the stretch, both the camera and the phone were pretty much dead. This is the last video the phone's going to do. But thanks for coming along with me. It was a great 12-mile hike through the Bird Rookery Swamp here in Naples, Florida. Tons of wildlife, a lot of gators. Yeah, great lunch, a little bit of wild foraging, and just a great opportunity to get out and take a deep breath, relax, and get some good exercise. So, a little foraging, a little nature, nothing better than getting out and doing something wild. I'll see you the next time.